Welcome to the Gold Coast Speakers podcast. I'm Michelle Cannan, and I'm going to be with Ilona, Teremi, and I are here today. We're both speakers on the beautiful JJ's Gold Coast Speakers platform, which you can check out some incredible speakers over there at goldcoastspeakers.com.au. But today, Ilona and we're going to be chatting on the topic on the strategy behind business growth, because Ilona is one of the most incredible women who is renowned for business growth, being a BNI franchisee for Tweed and Robina chapters, and supporting millions of dollars worth of business. What is $57 million worth of business growth alone within the chapters?
It's
And
just clicked over to 63 million. I know.
oh,
I know. I know. All these about
congratulations!
growth. They're so amazing. They're so
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, well, it's a testament to leadership, isn't it? And then that it comes from the top, and that's you, beautiful lady. That is
Oh,
you.
thank you. We all do our
Uh,
best, don't we? Really, we do our best and we hope and we plan and put strategies in motion, and then things just happen when we do all of that. So
That is so, yeah, it's so true. It's so true. But like we were just saying, it's that planning and that forecasting and the visioning and the alignment and all those things that we're going to be really speaking into today. But I also just want to acknowledge your book. So
oh,
the writing of your book, because we met the other week and you
oh,
gave me a beautiful autographed copy, but winning with core values. And so this was a co-authoring that is yeah, and it's number one in Amazon in 3 different categories. So get your copy, beautiful people, to really, yeah,
thank
winning
you.
with core values. Values is
It's a
such a
really easy read, and it's just stories of business owners just like you and I,
mm,
and they just share their business stories and what's worked for them. So there's so many good tips in that because, we've got to look for where people have success, and then we can replicate that or scale that and use that knowledge, which has already worked somewhere else. Right?
absolutely
It's a great
success.
read.
Success leaves trails, right? The
Yeah,
breadcrumbs of success. We don't need to rework. We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
absolutely.
We just gotta duplicate, and we can amplify. We find our own unique expression within that as well. But yeah, success leaves a trail. That's for sure.
Um,
That's for sure. So the strategy behind business growth. So
oh,
we've come up with 6 questions for us to really dive into, to really give our beautiful audience a really good insight into some core values of winning in business, huh? Yeah. So the
yeah.
first one, what's been your best growth strategy to date, and why did it work so well?
I think the biggest one has been, I don't know about you, but it really is a relationships economy. And I
Mm,
just think that's what it's always been. And I always think of where I've grown and how things have happened. And it's all been through relationships that I've formed, people that I've spoken to, people that help you get to where you want to go. It's incredible how people actually help you achieve your goals. But
mm,
I think it's also being around like-minded people I think being around those like-minded people is
mm.
what actually helps us grow. It gives us so much confidence as a business owner that we're on the right track, and we're doing the right things, that we can do things. So by far, I think that's been a real big strategy in a big picture, blue sky sort of way for growth, and so many other layers below
Underneath.
that, right?
100%. But I 100% agree. It's that relationship, it's that referral building, and it is 80% of my business. And it's the cornerstone of BNI as well, right? It's like it's
Absolutely.
developing those relationships, it's building that trust, it's building that incredible network, yeah? And as the saying goes, our network is our net worth. And it's such a powerful thing, but the authenticity of that connection that builds that trust is, it is a buzzword, I think, as well, trust in our industry right now, but it's understanding what trust actually is.
Mm,
And when we have that activated at such a significant level, there is, if we look at it from a neuroscience perspective, the oxytocin is activated and true bonds are formed that a lifetime, and it is
yeah.
such a fundamental, it is the basis of my business as well. I 100% agree, and speaking to so many other entrepreneurs, for them as well. Yeah.
I think it's always been there. I think we're just a bit clearer about why it's so important now. And I think it's
Yeah.
always been there because I think overall business owners know that they would prefer to do business with someone they know and they like and trust. They would prefer that, but not everyone has a strategy around how to do that. And generally it's so organic, and it happens over a very long period of time. And I guess that's
Yeah.
why I love BNI so much, was there's a structure for that to help accelerate
Yes.
that. But I think it's always been there for business owners. Like we know that we prefer referrals over leads, for example. We're always going to do some form of, lead sort of work. Of course, we're going to do some lead gen work. But I think overall we always prefer to be in that place where we're actually, working through word of mouth. I think that's where it's always been for a long time.
Well, it has. If we do full circle back to before the internet, back before internet marketing and all the rest,
Yes,
it's exactly what it was. It was,
correct.
you know, person to person, business, and it's those long-term relationships. Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I love about it as well, especially with some beautiful people that I've been working with over, 7 to 10 years, some of them. And in that relationship, there is so much that's observed and learned, and you get to continually share those insights as you go and you learn and grow together. And there's nothing more beautiful than that to have such a powerful strategy for growth.
Yeah.
Un, yeah, unequivocal. So the second question being strategy is the first step to business growth, followed up with implementation. What are your views on good implementation strategies?
Now this is my love language, implementation. First of all, we got to have a system for implementation. So I'm really big on processes and having processes so that, if I'm not around or someone's not around, someone can follow the steps, right? I think we all need
Yeah.
to understand how to implement, right? But I think
Mm,
we go back and we got to understand why we need to implement things, like why we need to do things and engage others in a vision, right? So when we've got that vision, then we've
mm,
got to engage others and they understand the why, and then they
mm,
know how to do things because there's a process for it. So we've got to bring people along with our vision. Like there's no way me or any other business owner I know can do all of the things ourselves. We can't. We've got to rely on experts to set things up for us. We've got to rely on experts for people in their field. And then the other thing I really love is speed. I know myself that if I don't move fast enough, I think
mm,
implementation takes us longer. And I think success loves speed as well. So
mm,
being
mm.
able to do things quickly. So I think that's sort of a combination of the things that I look at, is making sure I've got the vision, everyone understands the vision and why, they're bought into that why, and then we're working together as a team, right? It's all such team sport. It really is a
Yeah,
team sport, and
yeah,
it's more fun that way, right? And then we've got a system for it, right?
yeah.
So that whole process is what really makes a difference with implementation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So vision, systems and procedures, SOPs, and speed of implementation, 100%, 100%. And again, like looking at, where I know for a long time I was the bottleneck of my business because I was a solo for so long. And once the team started coming in and is learning how to implement those systems and procedures, and for me, it was the big thing of letting go,
Oh,
letting go
yes.
and trusting in my team to be able to take over and that training and enrolling them in the vision, enrolling them in where we are going and what we are doing and the why behind that is again such a powerful cohesion to that executing to have those outcomes and the speed of implementation. I'm 100% there with you.
Yes.
100% there with you. Yeah, yeah, I love that. Love that. So what foundation do you feel needs, to be in place before scaling a business sustainability? Just
Well,
sorry.
culture is everything. So I guess something that I've really worked hard on is the culture of my business, the culture of the people that I surround myself with. Who are the people I'm surrounding myself with? What is the culture of my business? What does it look like to someone else? What does that mean? And then that's a really good foundation again with looking at what are our systems that we've got in place as well. So again, coming back to those systems, but I think those 2 really have to go together, right? But that culture first, right? Making sure we've got good sort of like-minded people, good strategic alliances in place.
Yeah.
And, I think good standards as well. Like, what are our standards? What are our boundaries? And be really clear on those before we can then start to scale or progress. And that's something that I've really focused a lot on in the last few years.
Yeah, yeah, powerful, powerful. Yeah, and culture in Latin means to care, right? So, and again, coming from that leadership model, when we are actually truly caring about what's happening and the evolution, we have that strong foundation. Then the systems and procedures and the vision and the enrollment and the culture and the implementation, it all
So
starts to
much fun!
flow.
So much fun!
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is, and there's something that's just so fulfilling when you see it come alive, huh? When you see it all
Yeah.
come alive and it's landing and people reaping the benefits of the services that you
Yeah.
provide.
I think someone once said to me, business is about serving others.
Um,
I agree with that. And so is leadership. But it's all about creating leaders as well. And I think people have so much potential.
mhm,
And I like seeing that potential. I like seeing what people are capable of and for them to realize it themselves as well. So creating that next generation of leaders as well, I think is a really big part of good foundations because then that's that long-term legacy, isn't it? It's
it is.
leaving something meaningful about what we do today. What is that legacy? What did it all
Um,
mean? What did all our hours mean and all our hard work? It has to mean something at the end of the day. But I think it has to mean, yeah, creating something for others that can continue beyond, when, we're not around. So next generation leaders and legacy.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate legacy, isn't it? It's drawing out that potential to have it actualized and continuing on and evolving and growing and surpassing us as well. Yeah, that evolution, that's the greatest. I mean, leadership is also, a form of teaching as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that. I love that. Scaling for business sustainability. So fundamentally culture and the systems that you were talking about as
Yes.
well. Yeah, beautiful. So what's been your experience in knowing when it's time to pivot versus doubling down?
I don't know. I know you've got my book, so I'm a book fan. I read lots and lots of books. And I remember reading one and it spoke a lot about getting a lot of feedback from people. So I've really
Mm,
tried to take that on board and go out with regular surveys, and also asked my closer team around, feedback, giving me honest feedback, giving me
mm,
feedback that they feel comfortable in giving me. So feedback is one part where I go, is this what they need? Is this what they're wanting? And then I also look at data, and I really believe in looking what the data shows. What's the trends? What are my numbers showing? Is there upward, downward motion? So listening, I think, to people is really
mm,
important. Them feeling heard around feedback, them sharing ideas and going, oh, I actually never thought of that. And then
mhm,
looking at data with that as well and going, okay. And, looking at industry insights, again, what's working, and then going, okay, well, if the data's telling me this and people are telling me that, what does that all mean? And this means I either have to maybe change where we were going, or this is definitely going to work and this is being received really well. And the numbers are showing that as well. And we're getting some good traction. So therefore, we're going to do more of it. Right. So feedback plus data. And
yeah.
I don't know about you, but I get a lot of reports. I get weekly reports. I've got a dashboard that I look at. I can look at every day. Get monthly reports, and I find it really fascinating. Right, to look at
Mhm.
all of the figures.
It
Um,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's kind of it's a bit of a configuration, isn't it, of the sort of the matrix of the business, so to speak. And I mean, it's something I have really embraced a lot more in the recent years in my business. Yeah, the early days when you're sort of working it out, and I came from being a therapist and just evolved and grew, and learning
Oh,
as you move through the business and data. Once I sort of came to this point, it was where I had a quantum shift in my business. So
oh, fantastic.
yeah, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So do you think personal growth is a strategy for business? And if so, why?
I've always really, I think as business owners, always, one of our core values is lifelong learning.
Mm,
But we've always been a learner, books and podcasts. And I don't think we can stop learning as
mm,
business owners. I think we have to be always in learning mode, never become complacent. So I've always invested in me first because I
mm,
have to be the best version of me and I want to be always the best version of me. Like I want to be better tomorrow than I am today, even if it's like, those little one percenters. So I've done little AI micro credentials, I've done a little certification in NLP, and I really try and find little things that I can immerse myself in all the time. Because I
mm,
can't ask people to learn or better themselves if I'm not doing it myself. So I've really got to walk that talk. And I just think, there's a bit of science as well around learning. It sparks those little extra neurons in your brain. So it's
mhm,
actually really good for your brain to keep learning. And we
mm,
know that, right? So
mm,
I love it. I love it. I love learning new things. And it doesn't even have to be from books it can just be learning from other people too. But I just think, can I be the best version of myself? What does that look like? What do I need to learn? Where am I going to learn from? And just choosing something. It might be a different course every year, or
yeah,
having to think about what do we need to better ourselves in. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Personal growth is key for me.
absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, our business is a reflection of who we are being as well. For me, this is kind of my area. This is where my business is focused on. And so I 100% agree with you. And the classic saying is if we're not growing, we're dying. And
Yeah.
so we get complacent in that comfortability. And when we're sitting in that edge of, just we don't have to be sitting on the edge of the cliff or jumping, but when we put ourselves into a state of uncomfortability and we get comfortable with being uncomfortable in that point of evolution where we're sitting up against those limitations, yeah, so to speak, because that limitation is the gateway to the next level of growth. And when we learn how to translate that as the activator of that potential, when we can
Oh,
do it
this
for
is your
ourselves.
space. Yes.
Yeah, this is definitely this is my jam. This is my
This is
jam.
you.
Yeah, this is really what I do and what I have been doing for the last 25 years. We are a reflection, and when we are in that evolution and that growth and forever, the perpetual, we don't have to be the perpetual learner, but as you said, one course a year or
Yeah.
looking at one area to lean into where you feel you've hit that glass ceiling is your next level of growth. And once you go through, then you can lead others through that space as well to activate their potential. So yeah, yeah, huge strategy for business. And our last question, many businesses chase growth. How do you define healthy growth versus reactive growth?
So I think there's a real space for when we're being really deliberate about how we want to grow. We've got to be very clear about who are our target customers. Ideally,
Mm,
what type of customers do we really want to work with, rather than thinking every customer is for us. And I don't know if that's the case. And I think the clearer you are over the types of customers that you really love working with, they might be industry segments or they might be a particular avatar, then I just think it gets easier with then how you market, how
mm,
you talk about the types of people you want to attract, and how you can serve a particular type of avatar rather than everyone,
mm,
right? And then you can get really strategic as well and form
mm,
alliances with people who are very aligned with your strategic growth. And I just think and that makes things easier
mm,
rather than just this, like, fishing net. approach,
Mm,
right? And you just try and catch whatever fish land in the net.
yeah.
You really want to sort of do that more targeted approach. But and then I think all your messaging gets a lot clearer too as well. And then I think people resonate better with understanding like what you actually do if it's all aligned. But strategic alliances
Mm,
has been another a key area of deliberate growth for us rather than sitting back and waiting for everyone to arrive, right?
mm, mm. 100%. Absolutely. That in, you know, one of the sayings, early days in marketing, inch wide, mile deep. It took me a long time to understand what they meant versus casting that net that you were talking about, and it's like anybody will take anything. And as business owners, we're going to, potentially when we are in reactive growth, we'll say yes to anything. But the power of that no to the people that aren't aligned to your messaging and your brand, your service is such an intrinsic strategy for business, huh?
Well, I think collaborating with people as well who
Mm,
help you with that. So finding the collaborators is key. And yeah, I think when you're working in that strength of yours, or when you're really working in, yeah, your industries and your target customers, things are just easier. It just makes things just make more sense for us.
mm,
And that's where we start to really enjoy what we're doing, and our passion, you keep that passion there, is when we're really aligned and doing what we love for the types of customers that we love working with. I think that
mm.
whole clarity makes a huge, huge difference.
Absolutely. Clarity is power, huh? Clarity is power.
Yeah.
Oh, Lona, I love it. I love it. And that brings us to the end of our six
Oh
questions.
my goodness, that was so
Yeah,
quick. That
it
was
was. It
fun. It's gotta be
was.
fun too.
It's gotta be fun. It's gotta be fun, it's we spend a lot of time in our businesses, yeah? And we wanna be pulled forward
Yeah,
versus pulled towards versus feeling like it's a drudgery, and we are. It's it can be challenging. We
of
never wanna
course.
deny the challenges but those challenges, we can stay expanded in the face of that challenge. We can stay passionate and in that potential, knowing that there's always an answer. There's
Of
always an
course.
answer, and when we are anchored to that mission, to that vision, we will always find that answer. And there is something that is so incredibly fulfilling when you hit it. You come through that expansion. It's the most beautiful and most powerful feeling, isn't
And
it?
then I think you realize, this is what you're meant to be doing. And yeah. And it's what helps us with longevity in business, that business sustainability that you spoke about. And I think that's what helps us really stay around for a long time, which is what we want. We want businesses who are successful for a long time, so that's really about, yeah, them having clarity on that, us having clarity to serve as well and lead, and inspiring others as well. We can't always motivate, we can definitely inspire. We can inspire people. People are looking for inspiration as well. We're always looking for inspiration from others.
What's the difference for you between motivation and inspiration?
Well, motivation is can be shorter term, whereas inspiration is more, I suppose, visionary. And inspiration then helps us have that light bulb moment and go, I didn't realize that until, and then things just flow from there. Whereas motivation is more segmented and is not always a long term approach, because something will happen maybe to impact our motivation, right? But when we're
Mhm.
inspired, it's like everything changes. It really does change for us when we're inspired. And I think we've all been inspired, and we know when we've had that moment rather than that motivated daily approach maybe. But
Yeah. 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 No, 100% agree. For me, inspiration is internal. It's an internal activation, inspired. Yeah. Motivation is from an external source,
I
which,
love that. That's so
yeah,
true.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
comes an external, and it could trigger the inspiration. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't sustain either, but when it's from that internal inspire, the internal
It's so
inside out,
true.
it
It's so
is.
true.
It is, and it's these subtle nuances, isn't it? And it really does. It comes back to that internal alignment for the external flow. I 100% agree. And I mean, look, your success. What are we? 62 million in BNI now? Did you say
63 and counting.
62 and
I'm
counting? I mean,
I'm
that's a
not
test.
competitive, right? Well, I'm competitive for them because I
Yeah.
see how much more potential they have as well. I just think, wow, that's, so many people ask me, oh, is that Australian, across Australia? I said, no, this is just Gold Coast and Tweed. And I'm really proud of that because I think that's $63 million, this local economy. We've really, we've generated that. And that's the impact that they're having. And they need to feel that they're having some impact as well on each other. And they feel that impact from the relationships they're building. But it's also got to have tangible results as well. The two really have to combine, and those money results have to be there too. So it makes them feel good.
Yeah, there's a pyramid that I share when I'm facilitating from those relationships down to money becomes the flow state. But and it becomes a transformational exchange versus a transactional one. Yeah. And so, you take a stand for these people. It's a contribution to your community to create an economy that so few can at this level. So yeah, I celebrate you. I really do. I really do. So thank
Oh,
you. Thank you for doing that for people.
I'm just thrilled for them. I really am. I'm happy
Yeah,
for them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And again, it comes back to an incredible leader.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I just hang around amazing people. What can I say? I really do. I'm really fortunate. I really do have really great clients. I really do.
Mhm.
I'm really lucky, very blessed, very grateful, very, very grateful.
Incredible, incredible. Well, thank you for sharing this
Oh,
space
thanks,
with me
Michelle.
today.
Thank
Yeah, thank
you.
you. Yeah, I've really appreciated hearing your wisdom and many, many takeaways. And make sure you all go get this
Oh,
beautiful
thanks.
menu with core values. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Who would have ever I never ever had that on the bucket list, by the way, but, things just happen, you see, when people believe in you and when
Mm-hmm.
people give you ideas, careful of what ideas people give you, and then things just happen, right? And he had a plan, and he had a plan, and he put in a process, and we all came together and see, people just,
Mm-hmm.
help you get to things that you don't even think was ever in your bucket list. There you go.
Right, right. Yeah, and then that's the inspired action, right? The inspired oh, yeah, yeah, that sort of drops in and creates something incredible. Actually, just before in closing, I was listening to someone speak the other week, and he was saying how one idea that he committed to from that inspired internal idea is now there's like 260 people within this business that he now has created, an economy for who now house, feed their families through because of the one idea, the ripple effect of that one idea.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty cool legacy.
It is a really cool legacy. He was a serial entrepreneur, but he was saying this is where it really ignited the fire in him because
Everything aligned, right? Everything
right,
aligned.
right.
Found his passion and
Mm,
implemented, no doubt.
yeah, 100%. And speed
Well,
of implementation. He was speaking about speed of, yeah, 100%.
it-
It's you just gotta trust that, and so I guess the takeaway, if you were to leave one nugget of gold wisdom to sum up our time together, what would that be?
Believe in yourself.
Love
Believe in
that.
yourself.
Mm,
Our confidence is so important. Our confidence in ourselves is so important.
mm,
With those days when we are feeling so we can achieve anything. And I think we've got to, yeah, just believe in ourselves because we can achieve so
mm,
much. And that would be
mm,
my takeaway.
what a beautiful way to complete our time together.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you,
again.
Michelle. Thank you
No,
so much.
Absolutely. And for those that are listening to this incredible podcast with Gold Coast speakers, you can head over to the website. JJ has been collating an incredible plethora of speakers. So if you're looking for someone to speak at your event, head over to goldcoastspeakers.com.au and have a look. Thanks for joining us. And
Thanks for tuning in to the Gold Coast Speakers podcast. If you love this episode, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're looking for your next speaker or even ready to step onto more stages yourself, you know where to find us. goldcoastspeakers.com.au. I'm JJ Person Jones, founder of Gold Coast Speakers. And until next time, keep showing up, keep showing your voice, and making waves.